I want you to hear me. I want you to hear me clearly. No one is going to believe in you. No one is going to believe in you until you believe in yourself. And even then, you'll have to prove why you believe in yourself. And then they'll give you a shot. In some cases, if you believe in yourself enough, they'll give you a shot anyway. Then you have to prove your worth. And then once you start performing, they'll see it. Everything that I've done so far, I've had no cosigns. I've had no one give me a referral. I've had no one give me help to get to wherever I'm going. The only person you can say has given me help is my wife. And that's because we talk about everything, we plan everything, like we work together. But outside of that, no one has had a hand in me doing anything. You know what? Let me rephrase that. I have had help, but in the sense that I knew where I wanted to go. I knew what my goal was. I went for that goal, and in the process of me going for that goal, like say Johns Hopkins, which is actually, when I think about it, Johns Hopkins is the only thing where I actually asked for help, and my house asked for help. And the way I was helped for Johns Hopkins, I simply asked my manager to do a letter of recommendation. That was it. I asked for a letter of recommendation. Actually, that, no. Now I think about it, that was for NYU. I got accepted to NYU based off of my manager's recommendation. I didn't go to NYU, but I got accepted. I ended up going to a different Ivy League school. But for that Ivy League school I went to, I didn't need a recommendation. It was literally just me, my application, and my essays. For my house, they needed proof that I worked a full-time job at Walgreens. So I asked my manager to send them a letter stating that I do work for Walgreens full-time and I get 40 hours. That was the help I got. I didn't have help planning. I didn't have help telling me what schools I should go to. I didn't have help applying for the jobs that I got. I didn't have help from anyone saying, oh, I got you, just apply here, I'll get you in. None of that. I did all that. And I'm saying that to say, you need to be the one that makes the moves. You need to be the one that makes the plans. You need to be the one that has the vision, the idea, the direction. Once you have the vision, the idea, and the direction, you're going to encounter certain situations where they're like, okay, well, if you want to do this here, we need you to get a cosign from this space or this space. And then at that point, that's when you use your network to help you get to where you want to go, if you need it. But you need to make the plans, and you need to be the one that actually knocks on the door, puts your foot in the door to get to wherever you need to go. Because more times than not, no one's going to hold your hand and walk you into a job. Unless you got great parents that want to set you up for success. Other than that, you have to do it on your own. And you got to believe in yourself that you can do it. And you can do it. It just takes effort. That's it. Effort and belief. And when I speak of effort and belief, I'm not thinking of, like delusion. So, I can do anything. Like, I'm a 38-year-old male, but I can make it to the NBA and play against LeBron. I can make it to the NBA. I just need to practice and go to the gym every day. Not that kind of belief. That's a delusion. Doesn't matter how hard I work. I'm almost 40. I'm not making it to the NBA. It's not happening. But what I can do is go back to school, finish my degree, use that degree to get a better paying job, get that job, learn that job and do it well, and get promoted or use that experience to go somewhere else and get paid more money. I can do that. That can be done. That's possible. I can go into a new career. I can go into a new industry and work my way up from the bottom and become a supervisor one day or become management. That can be done. You can do that. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. You just have to take the steps to go towards it. That's all you got to do. I was in San Diego and I was like, okay, well, I just need a job. And this is when I was trying to be low key. I wasn't even aiming for anything. I was just like trying to stay busy and I wanted to work. Plain and simple. I wanted to stay busy and I wanted to work. So I'm like, okay, let me find this job. I got the job. I'm low key. I'm trying to be low key. That's my main goal. I don't want to draw attention to myself. I don't care about moving up. I just care about going to work, doing my job, going home. Now, with that being said, I do care about doing well at my job and learning everything and becoming skillful at it. I care about that. But other than that, all the extra shit, I don't care. And I go in there and I learn everything that I can. I do my job well. I become a go-to guy for some things. And then I get offered the senior machine operator role. And I'm still trying to be low-key. I'm not trying to do anything crazy. And what I do is I accept the role because, it's a little more responsibility. Who cares if you get a little more responsibility? At least you're getting paid more money. Some people say that, yeah, you're getting paid a little bit more money for more responsibility. But in the end, that responsibility that you're getting paid for, that little pay that you're getting, that little increase for that extra responsibility, helps you out in the long run because it allows you to get better paying jobs and higher roles. So you got to take that. Who cares if you're getting paid $1 or $2 more just to do more paperwork and manage people? Who cares? You can use that to your advantage later on and get a better paying job for more money. And what I do, I use that job and then I see the writings on the wall. Well, first off, I already had met my wife at that point, so I was going to move and be closer to her and live with her. But I already saw the writings on the wall that the wave had ended and that eventually this company was going to fold and that they were just going to hold people hostage and not tell them that they're going to fold eventually. So with those two things combined, I already knew I needed to find another job. But what did I do? I used that senior machine role to get a supervisor role. I used it to get a supervisor role. I used it to get a higher role with more pay. That's what I did. Now, was the higher pay like astronomical? No, but I got the role. And in turn, when I got that role, I became a supervisor. And I got that experience. And actually, even though I did work there and I didn't go anywhere else for a while, that role led me to getting interviews for jobs that were paying $100K. Just from me having that role. Nobody saw the value until I saw value, and once I saw value in myself, actually, I saw value in myself, I just didn't care. So I was putting in the effort, but I wasn't putting in any extra effort to try to be noticed or be seen. I was just working. And in the end, it worked out for me. And then once I had a belief in myself that I could be a supervisor and that I would do the job well, I got the supervisor role. And then I knocked that out. Now, of course, me believing in myself and me knowing who I am, I believe I can go anywhere and start from the bottom and move up. It's been a tale that's happened my whole life, honestly. At Best Buy, I came in as a regular consultant, part-time. I earned full-time because I sold the most services. I was number one in the district for selling services. I ended up getting promoted to Geek Squad. I sold the most in Geek Squad. I ended up moving up to being an operations agent. And then all those things led to me to potentially being a lead. But by the time I was going to be a lead and go for that role, I joined the Navy. All these things, I started from the bottom and I moved up. When I was at Q Health doing manufacturing, I was just a regular machine operator, moved up to a senior machine operator. Same thing. And then I flipped that role to the supervisor role. Now, of course, I took a chance and I went for the government role. And what ended up happening was they didn't want to go through with the whole clearance. Once they didn't want to go through with the whole clearance, they let me go. Okay, fine, cool. I'll take that hit. It is what it is. What happens is I go to Walgreens. I can go in as a cashier. I can go in as a shift lead. I apply for shift lead. I get a call for shift lead. I actually applied to Walgreens and Target. Target was a part-time role as a regular associate. Walgreens was a full-time role as a shift lead. Now, of course, I could have went to Target. I would have had a part-time role. and I would have had more time to myself and worked less, I guess you could say. Walgreens, it was a full-time role, and I was a shift lead, so I had responsibilities. So at that point, what I'm thinking, I'm gonna take the Walgreens role because it's responsibility. I'm a shift lead, and not gonna lead me to being a supervisor or maybe a manager one day. Now already I know I'm taking a pay cut working at Walgreens, so pay doesn't matter at this point. It's just getting a job and working. And if I'm gonna get a job and work, I need to work as many hours as possible. So I take the shift lead role. What do I do there? I work, I learn. Did I master it immediately? Hell no. I was not good. I was terrible. I was not good as a shift lead at Walgreens in the beginning. It was a learning curve. I hadn't been in retail for years. Not even years. I think it was a decade at that point. Like it was a long time since I had done it. So at that point, I'm struggling, trying to figure out how to do this thing, but I'm still maintaining. Eventually, it took me 6 months, but I hit my stride 6 months later. 6 months later, I hit my stride. I'm doing good. I'm managing. I'm doing well. And then at that point, I'm still going to school, right? I go to school, I finish my degree. Before I even finish my degree, I tell my manager, I'm looking to be an ESM. I want to be an assistant manager one day. Is there anything I need to do? And, they tell me just learn the processes and do this and that and give me lip service. I'm like, okay, cool. I work on learning more so I can, be considered for the role. I come back from paternity leave. They hire another employee that's been there as an ESM who has explicitly said that he does not want a manager role at Walgreens. That's the last thing he wants to do. But they give it to him. I actually say that I want the role, and I don't get it. They give it to him while I'm gone. So at that point, I'm like, okay, doing it here, that's not happening. They're going to try to keep me as a shift lead. I don't want to be a shift lead. So I do what I have to do. I start applying for assistant manager roles in different stores that are further away. I get an interview in DC. I do that interview. I do well in the interview, but I don't get the job. But he passes my name to another manager. They interview me for another store. I get the assistant store manager job at that other store. That's because I believe that I can handle the workload, and I believe that I can actually do the job. I believe that I can do it before anyone else did. And I proved it in an interview. Anything that they asked me, I had answers for because I had the experience. I had been working at the store for nearly a year and a half at that point. So anything that they asked me, there was an answer for it. So, I do that, and I become an assistant store manager, and I become really good as assistant store manager. It didn't take me a long time to get good at it. It took me maybe 2-3 months, and then I started picking it up and figuring it out, and then things were rolling. And then at that point, I still wanted more pay because the bills are still high. So I need higher pay so I can cover these bills and, be able to take care of home in general. So while I'm doing that, I applied for a manufacturing role. I'm like, well, manufacturing, I love manufacturing. I want to get back into that. I find a job for manufacturing. First job I applied to, I don't get it. Second job I applied to, I don't get it. Next thing you know, months later, that job that I applied to that I didn't get, I end up getting an email and they're saying, do you still want the role? Are you still interested? I say, yeah. They interview me for it. I do the interview again. I knock it out. Next thing you know, I got the job. Do I get it as a supervisor or anything? No. It's manufacturing. I haven't been in manufacturing in years. They start me off as a regular associate. So then at that point, I'm starting off at the bottom again. But I'm starting at the bottom with more pay than what I was getting at Walgreens. That's only because I believed that I could do it first. Before they believed, I believed. You got to believe in yourself and that you can do these things. People are not going to believe in you until you believe in yourself. You think they would have picked me to actually randomly start working there without me actually applying for the job? Seeing that I worked at Walgreens doing retail, I haven't been in manufacturing for years. Do you think they would have went out and sought after me and been like, hey, we think you'd be good for this role, come over here? No, they wouldn't have. I had to have the audacity to believe that I could still be good at doing this thing. And I proved myself right. You gotta believe in yourself. You gotta look at all the people in the world who have the audacity to believe that they can do certain things delusionally and are not good at those things, but still have the wherewithal to be like, bitch, I can do it. I don't care. I know I can do this thing. They can be terrible, but they still believe in themselves that they can do it, and they still apply, and they still go for these things. And in some cases, they still get those things just because they had the audacity to believe that they could. So if they can do that, why the hell can't you? If they can do all these things and achieve all these things, knowing that they're mediocre, why can't you? And you're not mediocre. So if you're not mediocre and you can do these things, why don't you believe in yourself enough that you can do it? You gotta believe in yourself. I say all that just to say, before anyone's gonna notice you and notice that you're good at anything and actually believe that you're the one that should be holding whatever role you want to go for or making the money that you want to make, you yourself have to believe that you're worth that. And you have to prove it and go for it. And really, I wouldn't even go as far as to say to prove it, because who the fuck are they to prove anything to? You know who you are. You know what you do. It's really up to you just to prove to yourself that you can do it. You ain't even got to prove it to them you can do it. Just prove it to yourself. Give yourself the chance, go for it, and then prove yourself wrong. That's it. I'm Jeuse Kastoan, and this is Unseen Hours.